All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Betty Francisco, and I wanted to welcome you this afternoon to the third webinar in the Amplify Latinx Business Resiliency Series. Today, we are joined by Josiane Martinez from Archipelago Strategies Group and Zamawa Arenas from Floetic. And the topic is on how to adapt and pivot your marketing strategy during COVID-19. We know a lot of you are pivoting in your businesses and thinking of new ways to create revenue. And so this is a very timely topic and how we can adapt what we're doing and we can market our new strategies. So I'm going to just give a little bit of context around Amplify Latinx. We are focused on building economic and political power in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And part of our programming includes Power Up, which is an initiative to connect Latino-owned businesses to each other and to the resources that exist in our Commonwealth so that we can help you grow and thrive. And we know that this is extremely important in this time because a lot of you are facing disruption in your businesses. We appreciate that there's a lot happening to impact all of you during the COVID-19 crisis. And part of our programming at this point is built and geared to help you navigate during this time and to help you come out of this stronger, hopefully, in the end. So today's webinar is brought to you in collaboration with BECMA, the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, and with Archipelago Strategies Group and Floetic. So just a little bit of housekeeping here. So social media, we'd love for you to share what you're learning and anything that you hear today that you think others should learn about. We welcome your thoughts and your feedback. So please share freely on social. Use our pages, which are Amplify Latinx, BECMA, Discover ASG, and Floetic Boston. And these are on Twitter, so feel free to share. And then just some logistics here in terms of how we're going to conduct the webinar. So all of the attendees, you're going to be muted during this session, except during the Q&A. And in order to ask questions, you can do two things. At the bottom of your toolbar, you'll see a Q&A function. You can ask a question there, and it'll give us a flag that you've raised your hand. So you can ask questions during the presentation, but we'll most likely get to them towards the end. You can also type questions in the chat box. We're going to record this session, so we'll be sending out the recording tomorrow, along with these slides and with any other resources that we have for you. We'll also include a survey to get your feedback, and we'd love to hear from you both on how we did, but also what other topics you'd like to see. All right, so I'm going to now have Zamawa and Josiane introduce themselves briefly. Zamawa, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Betty, and thank you for everything that Amplify is doing to help small businesses in all communities in Boston. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zamawa Arenas. I'm really glad to be here with all of you today. I am a small business owner. I've been a small business owner for over 20 years. I came to Boston from Venezuela, so I'm originally from Venezuela, and my goal has been to really work with leaders of organizations and small businesses to help them grow and scale through smart marketing and branding. And that is the purpose of Floetic. On the side, I also serve on the board of the Chamber of Commerce of Boston and Eastern Bank and the Boston Foundation. So I'm always looking for ways to give back and to support small businesses in the community. So I'm hoping that today's webinar is going to impart some insights and tips that you can apply in your business. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Zamawa. We're so grateful to have you. And I should say that Zamawa is one of our advisors and one of the original folks on our steering committee that launched Amplify's Latinx's Power Up initiative. So she's at the heart of what we're trying to do. And we always appreciate you and everything you're doing for the Latino community, especially the business community. Thanks, Zamawa. And now next, Josiane Martinez, who also is one of our beloved both consultants that we've used many times, and also a frequent speaker in our programming. Josiane.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Buenas tardes a todos. I'm Josiane Martinez, and I am the CEO and founder of Archipelago Strategies. It's an honor to be here today, sharing the stage with these two wonderful role models. Thank you so much, Betty, for having us. We're looking forward to today's discussion. ASG is a full service marketing agency with purpose. Everything that we do has a purpose, and we help organizations connect to diverse audiences and inspire them to take action.
Great. Thank you so much, Josiane. It's always great to have, and it's great to have both of you. Your incredible branding, marketing, communication minds, I think are going to make this an amazing session. So thank you both for being with us. All right. So the first thing I want to do is a little bit of a poll because we want to get a sense of who's on. So I am going to launch a poll. Let's see. Relaunch. Okay. We have our poll going now. Can you see it? Yes. All right, so folks on the line, on the webinar, please tell us a little bit about yourselves. What type of business are you? And how familiar are you with using social media and online platforms? We'd just like to get a sense of who's on the line so that we can also tailor a little bit of the conversation. We'll just give it another 30 seconds. We have some more professional services that I see. Great. Some nonprofits. All right, if you haven't voted, please vote. We're almost there. All right, I'm gonna end the poll and I'm gonna share it with all of you. So can you see this? So personal services, we have 2 out of 21, 1 restaurant is on, 9 are professional services, no retail, 5 nonprofits, and 6 other.
Got it.
Okay, all right, stop sharing. All right, so we're gonna continue on. So I'm gonna let Zamawa, you take over here. So in terms of what we'll cover.
Sure. So thank you everyone for filling out the poll. We just wanted to get a sense of who's on the call. So as we go through our webinar, we try to tailor some of this content to you as our audience. We did structure the presentation in a way that would allow us to really focus on 3 steps to help you pivot strategically in terms of your marketing and how you transition your business during this time of COVID. We are going to share some resources with you for adapting your business to this new reality of a lot of technology-based platforms for selling and marketing your products and services, and then we'll do a Q&A. What we're hoping from today's webinar is that you leave with some building blocks that you can apply in your business. And for those nonprofit organizations, there will probably be some ideas that come from this presentation that you can also apply as a nonprofit. So that's our goal for today. Next slide, Betty, please. So what we're looking to do here is to help you create what we're calling your COVID-19 response marketing plan. And that image on the slide is the reality that you are all facing, and is this need to close because of COVID. Whether you had to close your business to retail, or you had to transition from your regular operations, something was disrupted for you. But if there's a thing I've learned from all these years of being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, is that small business owners, nonprofit leaders are determined, they're resilient, and they're resourceful. So this is the time for us to dig deep and really pull on those 3 attributes that we own as small business owners, as nonprofit leaders, and to help each other, and we can all rise together. So the presentation is mostly structured for brick and mortar retailers and professional service organizations, but we'll do our best to really help also address maybe some concerns that nonprofits may have. Next slide, Betty, please. So, Josie?
Sure. So thank you, Samawa, for presenting this. So today we're just gonna, like she said, focus on 3 steps to pivot strategically, and these are really based on the marketing 5 Ps. You know, and those of us are in this field know that it's people, it's product, it's price, it's promotion, and it's place or distribution, right? But these 3 steps sort of summarize this, and we want to sort of be concrete with you so you have very concrete steps to follow, right? First of all, let's recognize how the consumer's needs have changed. A lot have changed during these times, right? Once we understand how those consumer needs have changed, we need to think about how to modify our offerings to provide value to those consumers, right? And that is product and price. And then we lean on social media right now because there's an increase in the use of social media and digital marketing, or any emergent alternative channels, not just social media, any emergent alternative channels to reach to your target audience. And that will cover promotion and distribution. Next, please. So what are we really dealing here with, right? These are unprecedented times. For a lot of us, you know, something very new. It is that 1 in 3 individuals are very concerned with becoming infected, and first with someone in their family, then with someone in the, first in their households, then with someone that they know. They're concerned about the economic impact of this crisis. We're concerned about job security. There's concern about food security, housing, and also 9 in 10 consumers have changed their shopping behaviors. We all have, right? We're stepping back from restaurants, from movies, from things that are non-essential. And we're increasing our online orders, and we're ready to click and wait for that package, you know, on the door, right? So those are changes that we cannot ignore that are happening, and it sort of gives us an idea of what's going on out there. Next. So what consumers really need, and this is going to be very individual for each of the organizations that are here, right? So what do they need is going to, I mean, there's certain needs out there, but how you tailor to those needs is going to be very, very individual for each of you. And here's some of the consumer needs that we have identified. And of course, there's a lot more out there, right? But, you know, some of the standout needs that we know are that they're looking to successfully manage work from home. I am one that needs a better chair, you know, and better ergonomics for my neck, you know, that's a need. There's a lot of us that are looking to keep our kids educated and entertained, right? And not having childcare is an issue, right? So what do we do with our kids while we're trying to work, right? Or manage a business? We're looking at cost-saving promotions and deals. We need some reassurance of safety. And also we're looking for news. We're consuming a lot of news, and whatever is put in, I mean, we're on CNN, we're looking at the Boston Globe constantly, we're looking at the numbers of the cases, where they're happening. There's a need for protective personal equipment out there. And more brands are doing good and are looking for ways of giving back and being sensitive about what their consumers are going through. And then there's a need for information and resources to navigate the economic impact. Not everybody is able to apply for unemployment or know, you know, where to apply for loans. So there's a need to understand and sort of digest all these economic, these resources that are available, not just for individuals, but for small businesses. So that takes us to our building block number 1. To me, this is informal research, right? We are gonna look at doing a small situation analysis, if you will, right? First of all, you wanna stay in contact with your customers, and you wanna email them, and you wanna email them or call them, you wanna be in touch with them, and you wanna ask them, how have their needs changed? how have their lives changed, right? What are some of the things that they need help with? Even if it's outside of what you do, you want to hear what they're going through, right? Uh, Also, you want to hear how can you improve their experience. Um, I also think we need to do an internal analysis and look at your company and look, once you understand, how the consumer needs have changed, and how can you improve their experience, you need to look inside of your organization and see what are your resources, what are your capabilities, right? Look internally and say, okay, I have this strength and I have this weakness. That's important to identify. Not just identifying the need, but also understanding, what do we have in our toolbox? And then look at our competitors. What are they doing? What has been successful? Can we be collaborators? A lot of people sometimes misunderstand that because you're competing with someone, you might not be able to collaborate. I actually have plenty examples of people that are doing similar businesses that are doing similar things, coming together to go after business, right? Are there any opportunities to that? And then are you able to give back to your community? Are you sensitive to the issues that are happening out there? And are you able to somehow, give back to the community?
All right, and that takes us to our second lesson for this webinar, and it's about what Josie said earlier in modifying what you offer to create value. And the way we see that is, how do you remain relevant in a quarantine economy? Because this is a very different economy now than it was 4 weeks ago. So we want to talk through some of the ways that we recommend you think about how do you remain relevant. Next slide, Betty. So first of all, as we all know, and we're all consuming right now, a lot of it is transitioning online, and online has become essential for organizations and small businesses to really focus on maintaining their business revenue and also staying afloat and staying relevant. So what's really important is to deliver a good mobile experience. And that's why all of us are with our phones most of the time, and people are scrolling up and down their phones all the time. So having your website be mobile responsive is really important. And then being timely and sharing information. I know there's a need to sell, but there's also an opportunity to continue to develop those relationships with your customers. And if you do that kind of informal research where you understand what your customers need and what has changed for them, you can also help address that. And when consumers come to your website, make sure that you're quickly showing them the options, so they don't have to dig through different links and kind of figure out what button to click on if they want to order online or if they want to support your business or your organization. And it's really important that you keep your message positive and make it COVID-19 sensitive. There's so many websites right now of businesses that are business as usual. You go to the website and you don't even, if you go to the website, you don't even imagine that COVID-19 is happening. So there's a total disconnect from that interaction. So the recommendation is to really think about how do you translate what's happening externally and recognize those issues and connect those to your business. So we have some examples that we want to share with you. So here are two small businesses and one nonprofit. On Center is a gift store on Center Street in Jamaica Plain. They're a brick and mortar. They sell a lot of different goods to locals in the community. So they really, the first thing you see on their website when you come to it is this message to our community. And it's about how they're currently closed, but really encouraging those online purchases, shopping from home, and them being able to deliver or for you to do curbside pickup. Also, if you walk by their storefront, they have a really nice sign thanking their customers and promising to come back and kind of soliciting that kind of support. The next one here is the Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen, which is located on Columbus Ave and Mass Ave, and probably many of you have been there and love the food. So when you get to their website, the first thing you see is this screen that basically recognizes that they're responding to COVID-19. They're building that sense of neighborhood and solidarity. They're giving you information about their takeout hours, and they have a button right there front and center that you can click on to order. So you don't have to do a lot to try to find that information. It's right there as soon as you get to their website. And then on the nonprofit side, Artists for Humanity, which probably many of you know, is an organization that works with teenagers to really help them develop creative skills and learn some practical experiences that they can later apply in the workforce. And they do a lot of work in art and video. So what they did is they launched an online store to sell artwork from teens and still encourage teens to work from home and create their own art and making that connection. So really looking for ways to stay relevant in light of what COVID-19 is thrown at us right now. The other way that you can modify your offerings is by creating virtual offerings. And these could be in the form of gift cards that you can tie to something like giving back, and we'll share an example. Do some spring cleaning. There's probably some inventory that you have sitting around that is going to be obsolete by the time that COVID-19 is behind us. So what kind of flash sales can you do to move inventory so you're not stuck with this inventory later in the fall if you have things that are spring related, trying to move that as quickly as possible. There's also the opportunity to sell future products. And if you have a good connection with your customer base, it's about buying now and saving later. For example, you could offer a deal of something for $75 that is actually worth $150 that you can buy later. And this could apply to a meal at a restaurant. This could apply to a service at a salon. So really thinking about ways to generate cash flow now that you can later deliver services on in the future. And really focusing on special packages for upcoming holidays. We just had Easter, we have Mother's Day coming up, we have Father's Day coming up. So how can you package some of your offerings in a way that really helps drive some traction around these holidays? And definitely it's going to be really key to offer delivery, takeout, and curbside pickup, whether you're a restaurant or you're a retail location, because as we know, the social distancing is going to continue. So making sure that you have those building blocks in place. So here's an example of a nail salon called Mini Lux. And what they've done is they created a fund to help support their staff members. As we know, salons are not able to provide any services, and maybe there's some hair salon or nail salon owners on this call today. So what they did is they created gift cards, and they're selling nail polish, and they're offering to put half of the proceeds into this fund to help their employees with support around food or other issues that they're facing. So as a customer, I feel compelled to want to buy a gift card, even though I may not use it for months, because I know it's helping people today. Dirty Water is a pizza restaurant in Boston. They've done a real good job of constantly updating their offerings and packaging them for the COVID-19 crisis. And they're even calling it, for example, this one is shelter in place specials. So they're packaging food, they're creating kits so for you to create your own pizza at home. They're offering you many options and also being very quick and expedient and in their delivery services. This is Microplant Studio, and they're a florist, they sell plants, and they've had to get really creative in trying to stay afloat as a business and continue to generate revenue. So they've come up with different ways to do that, but really one of their big promotions is this idea of buying to give back, and buying a succulent plant that can be donated to a frontline worker. As someone that I could buy that plant and I could know that it's going to someone who's working in the front lines, and it's just a special gift that you can provide. they're offering gift cards. So they have many options on their website, and they're sending regular email updates with these offers. And in the pink, you can see that they did a special offer around Easter. Again, trying to move inventory, trying to move business, so that they're also giving people an opportunity to come in the store and pick up their plants or whatever they've ordered. And the way they do that is by you contacting them by phone or Instagram or Facebook, placing your order, and then they send you a link to Square so you can pay online, and then you come and just pick it up. So they're also trying to avoid the cash transactions that we know can be problematic during this time. So the more you can do cashless transactions or online orders, the more willing people are going to be to buy from you. And then think about virtual services if you're not offering goods and products. And these could be in the form of FaceTime walkthroughs. And I'll share with you an example. In-person classes online. There are some hair salons that are doing classes that are, you know, we all need personal grooming right now, and we're gonna have to do it ourselves. So they're doing short videos to show you how to cut your hair, how to do a pedicure. You know, my hair is really short. Just imagine in 3 months, I'm going to have hair like Betty and Josiane. So I need to figure this out. I
couldn't get the nail polish off.
so those online classes create value, and we have the time for them. Virtual consultations. There's some realtors that are doing virtual consultations for first-time home buyers, and maybe it's not that they're taking you to an open house, but they're doing consultations to help you be prepared and to take you through the home buying process. Virtual consultations, if you are an IT consultant and being able to help small businesses navigate issues with their IT systems. And there are others that are doing online town halls and webinars and really bringing a lot of people together and connecting them, and kind of like what Betty in Amplify is doing right now, is really creating these opportunities for a lot of people to connect and come together, so that it all continues to create value and provide value to your different audiences and customers.
I was just going to say, Samawa, that for those of you that are doing business services, some of the things that we've seen, for example, is offering pro bono services to other business, to B2B, those of you that are doing B2B services, right? And building relationships right now, right? And as an opportunity to provide some of the work pro bono, and the other work, will be paid, right? And so I see some of that, and for that you have to have your website prepared, to receive sort of leads. So we can talk a little bit more about some of the things that you could do if you're a service company. At the end of the presentation, we have some suggestions.
Thank you, Josie. So here's an example of a toy store that Necker's Toyland, and they're advertising or promoting on Facebook these FaceTime walkthroughs the store. So parents with kids who are bored and just done playing with the same toys or the same activities, they can take them through a walkthrough through the store, and children can pick things that they want, and then they consult with the parents and are able then to provide those packets. And these are like activity packets that are kits that you can purchase from them, and then they ship those to you, and you're able to use those with your children. Again, if you're working from home and you have children at home, this is another way to help address some of those consumer needs that Josiane mentioned early on. And then the other example is of a gym that used to provide classes to adults. And again, parents are with kids at home, kids get anxious, they get tired, they need to move. So they're offering classes to children, and they do them through Zoom, which is what we're using today. And they're creating these spaces for children to play and have some physical activity and connect with one another. And this gives parents an opportunity to have their child be focused doing a healthy activity for about 40 minutes and get some work done in those 40 minutes. So again, looking for ways to help address some of those consumer needs that are now really important because people are at home, because people have children at home, and ways that you can help make that transition easier. Other companies are offering work from home kits. And like Josiane said, she needs a new chair. So if you have a business that can sell products that you can package as work from home kits, whether it's, you know, notepads or staplers, chairs, cushions, things that you can package as kits, those have potential to also move.
Thank you, Samawa. And, you know, I think, and thank you for all this research. This is wonderful examples of, you know, ways in which businesses are pivoting. And I think the most important thing here is to have an open mind. Have an open mind to do this. Have you heard the song, Si del cielo te caen limones, aprende a hacer limonada? Yes, that's what we're doing here. We're making lemonade, you know, right now. And so we are keeping an open mind and understanding, first of all, we're understanding what is the need out there. Then we're understanding what are our capabilities and resources, what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. And then we're redirecting our services with an open mind. It could be completely out of your comfort zone, but you have to be open for it, right? To redirect those services and offer products to respond to the present needs, right? So let's go to the next slide. And here we have some examples, and I think Samawa, you have also done some of this research with some of these local businesses.
Sure. So here you have PlaceMe. PlaceMe is a company that offers apartment rentals, mostly to student and graduate students. They've left, they're not here. So they pivoted and they partner with healthcare organizations to offer housing to frontline workers who have to quarantine or who can't come home because they're afraid of infecting their family members. And they're also offering these apartments as a partnership with other organizations. So there's an opportunity to collaborate and partner with other institutions that might be larger and that have these needs.
Yeah, so I think that we'll have a great opportunity with the state as they're looking into placing people in quarantine in different, you know, apartments or houses, and they're looking for spaces right now. So this is a great way to pivot.
And if you're someone who owns rental property, this is the opportunity, if you are having issues with vacancy, to really pivot around offering the needs for housing. The one in the middle is Aman for home services, and they were a home cleaning service provider. So they worked at homes and came and did cleanings, and that is not what they can do now. So they pivoted, and they're providing sanitation services to companies that are still operating because they have essential employees or essential lines of business. So they completely shifted their operation to sanitize businesses, hospitals, and others until they can go back to their regular line of business, or maybe this is a way to explore expanding their offerings. And then here's an example of restaurants offering groceries. So in addition to buying food, and maybe we're not all ordering food at the level that we did before, this is a way to also get people to order from them. And the issue here is that the supply chain for restaurants is very different than the supply chain for grocery stores that are direct to consumer. So they have bulk, they have big quantities, and what they're doing is packaging some of these things. So if they have a lot of eggs, they can create small packets of eggs and sell those, or 50-pound bags of flour, creating small packets and selling those, and then connecting those with a food takeout order. So they can move some of these things that might also go to waste because they're not able to prepare as many meals or as many food options as they would before. And there are also some really small businesses that are in the food business with Commonwealth Kitchen, that's a partner of Amplify, that are working together to offer emergency meals to folks who need them. So again, finding ways to respond to issues that are pressing and like Josiane said, maintaining an open mind and really pivoting in ways that you maybe didn't even think you could. And here's an example of a high couture company. They're in on Washington Street. Julia is the owner and founder of this company, and she completely pivoted to making face masks and PPE. She started doing it as a donation, and it got posted on Facebook. It got attention, and the Boston Housing Authority placed an order with her business, and she's fulfilling that order. And she's completely changed her website and her Facebook media channel to focus on this new offering. And hopefully she can maintain this as a line of business until she can go back to making gowns and beautiful dresses for ladies and you know, enjoying parties and things like that.
Thank you. And as you see, lots of opportunities here. And with the restaurants, I seen too that they take some of this inventory that they have and they package meals too, right? So there's a menu of this dish. Here's, you know, and selling people, you know, the opportunity to prepare that too at home.
And this one is the last example of these in terms of face mask. This is a dry cleaning service in Dorchester. And so while they can still offer some dry cleaning services, they're shifting to provide face masks and are trying to sell these on retail and perhaps at larger quantities. And then for those on the call who are familiar with El Planeta, you know it's a Spanish language newspaper. They have been around for many, many years. And they had to pivot too. So what they're doing is working with WBUR, the local NPR station, to help translate content into Spanish that WBUR is producing and making it available to the Latino community in Spanish. And they just today launched El Planeta Cares, which is a new initiative really to try to package subscriptions and then be able to provide newspapers for free to the Latinx community, because as we know, not everyone has internet, not everyone has access to high speed and broadband. And so many folks in the Latinx community are getting their news still through print publications. So what this offering does is give an opportunity for you to buy a subscription for $75, and that guarantees X number of papers go free to X number of people. So again, making these connections and using a lot of the content that WBUR is producing to fill their pages as well, and doing it in Spanish. And then WBUR is able to also get their news out that way.
So another example of collaborators, competitors, right? And also, you know, another example of emergent alternative channels, right? Not everything is digital. There are people who are still, you know, getting their information. There's a revival of print, you know, because of this, right? And El Mundo is also, you know, let's also talk a little bit about our other partner, El Mundo newspaper, who pivot to, and if I don't know if you've seen Alberto Vasallo, for those of you who know Alberto Vasallo, he has created Cobertura de COVID-19, and it's followed by millions of, the reach that he's having is about above 1 million, you know, almost every day, every time, and keeping the community informed. And it's something new that they're doing, and it's going very well. So this is bringing us to building block number 2. Okay, so have you leveraged your online platforms? Have you updated your website with COVID-19 messaging? Very important. And what are the best products and experience that you can create and offer? Next. So the lesson number 3 here is lean on social media and other alternative emergent channels, right? Connecting with your customers, staying in contact with your customers is key here, right? And also listening, right? It's not just a one-way communication, but also getting all that input from customers as you connect with them, and recalibrate your message to make sure that you're getting to the people in a way that resonates with them. Next. So while relying on social media is important, there are other emergent channels, and this is a time to communicate and engage, like I said. So people are spending a lot more time on social media. Instagram and Facebook increased use by 40%. But also look at emergent social media influencers and Facebook groups. And I don't know if you noticed, in those of you spend some time on Facebook, that there is a growing number of people who have become influencers now, right? That they have taken their phones, are doing their Facebook lives, and have thousands of followers, right? There's also a growing number of Facebook groups. People are avoiding their feed because there's a little bit of negative, the algorithm of Facebook keeps giving them the same information. So they're escaping from that feed and going into groups, right? So identifying those groups that are, that have similar target audiences and tapping into those groups and talking to the managers of those groups to allow you to provide information to that captive audience is also an emergent channel within social media. People are only allowed to go to supermarkets and pharmacies, right? So this is a great location for information distribution, right? For those not-for-profits out there, right? You don't want to expose yourself, but you can always create partnerships. One of the things that we did with one of our clients was to partner with a supermarket chain to distribute important information to the people that we're serving, right? So as the cashiers were, distributing the products, they will put the information in the bags, right? And I think a lot of media are doing that and tapping into these supermarket chains and neighborhood groceries to get information to target communities. Print and radio revival, right? Who would thought that we would go back to this, right? But yes, it is important because, as Samawa mentioned, in low-income households, the internet gap is not allowing people to access information online. So what are you going to do to reach out to those people? El Planeta has a solution, El Mundo has a solution, and print is coming back, radio is coming back. So important to look into those channels as well. And then always searching for ways to stay happy and productive. This is a time also, where people are craving social connectedness. They're looking at ways to help if they can. So engaging people and that possibility, it is a way to keep them engaged. This is so important, right? And I think I saw a question in the Q&A, right, about pro bono versus paid services, right? But these pro bono services, they better be genuine and open and informative. If you are about to offer this, it could pivot back to you and say, oh, you're being opportunistic and you really don't care, right? So there's gotta be a fine line about being genuine and truthful about what you want to offer to people because you really care about this, right? And so when you do this, make sure that is truthful, right? And stay connected and acknowledge COVID's impact. Like Sama was saying, you go to some websites right now, you will never learn that there's a pandemic out there because they are not sensitive to that, right? Be empathetic, put yourself in your consumer's shoes, right? Understand what they're going through, right? Whatever is the target market, and I don't know how you segment your market, right? But in some cases, people are, are going through food insecurity, and they're concerned about losing housing, and they're concerned about losing their life, being infected, and they don't know if they're gonna be able to survive this. So being empathetic about that, understanding, the feeling and the emotion of your target market is important as you try to stay connected to them. respond quickly to complaints, right? And this is something that you don't have to wait for a pandemic to do. I believe that this is a rule that, you know, you should apply. And if you hear something, do something, right? If I hear that there's something that is happening with my business, believe me, I will pick up the phone and I'll talk to that customer and I will listen to that customer, right? And then stay connected. And I mean, email is a way to stay connected, but there's a lot of people sending emails right now. So I get about maybe 200 emails a day, right? So another way to stay connected, depending on how large is your consumer base, give a phone, send a text message, stay in touch, you know, and these email promotions, right, you know, make sure that they resonate with people, that this is really based on the need that they have.
And here's an example of one of our dear local restaurants, Vejigantes, how they're real
right now, and this is making me more hungry.
Oh, but this is an example of a local business that is working really hard to be able to maintain their revenue, and they're doing a good job of connecting their website. As you can see, you get to their website, there's that order now. They just ran a promotion for Easter. That lechon looks amazing, and they have created a lot of these special offers that are being pushed through Instagram and other channels as well. And this is a local store in Jamaica Plain, Rose JP. It's a consignment store. She had opened the store about 6 months ago and COVID hit, so she didn't have a lot of time to ramp up her business. And so she immediately went on the offense. So she transitioned her website, Shop Small, during COVID-19. They did a video. She's doing Instagram. She's calling them confessions to help people sort through their closets. And they also launched a GoFundMe campaign to help with some relief for her business. So she's trying a lot of different things to connect. And so this is an example of another local business that had to pivot and really quickly try to figure out a way to maintain revenue. And a GoFundMe campaign is another viable way to do that as well. And I know we're getting close to time. So we're gonna wrap up just by sharing with you some resources that are online platforms. All of this presentation is gonna be shared after this, and all of these are active links. So for those who need to create a new website or need to update their website, here's some resources that are really easy to use that don't require any technical expertise. Some e-commerce platforms that are kind of off the shelf that are offering some relief in terms of pricing. So you can get 3 months free trial, 90 days. And these can help you transition your business to an online store very quickly. Next one, Betty, please. Virtual consultations, if you're going to teach classes, Zoom, of course, we all know is great, and GoToMeeting as well. But here's a tip. If you sign up for the basic Zoom, you get up to 40 minutes free. So if you were to package a class on how to cut your hair or how to do certain activities or cook something, you could do them for under 40 minutes and you could still benefit from Zoom and not have to put any money out to get a membership. And for cashless payments, we recommend Venmo, which is very easy to use, PayPal and Square, and maybe some of you are already using these. The City of Boston put out this guide, delivery and takeout guide, that applies to businesses from all over the state, really, because it's not just for Boston. So it's a very comprehensive guide. It has a lot of resources, a lot of platforms that you can join forces with to deliver to your customers, and also companies that you can use for credit card processing. So strongly recommend this guide. And then next one, Betty, please. The Chamber of Commerce just yesterday launched a new initiative to provide pro bono services to small businesses. So they reached out to all of the board members and members of the chamber to ask for volunteers. So there's a long list here. You can go to the website, there's a link of people who have volunteered to provide pro bono in legal, human resources, marketing, in you know, a range of services. So again, I encourage you to go there. And then the last one here is a COVID relief coalition of law firms that are offering free legal services to nonprofits and other government agencies. Again, we have the link here so you can access those resources. And we'll wrap up and take your questions. But what can we all do is to, as much as we can, support one another, shop from small businesses, provide technical assistance if you're able to do that, and really help create those connections and alliances that small businesses need to really expand their social networks and get more awareness for their business. And then think about post-COVID-19. What plan do you need to put in place? We're all learning a ton as we go, and we're like drinking from that fire hose, as they say. But if there's time, start thinking about all the things that you're doing now. How can that prepare you to be a stronger business post-COVID-19? Or if there are other ways that you can think about your business and what you need to focus on. So we'll end here for now and take your questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Zamawa, Josiane. That was awesome. Like, I think the examples you provided, just the, showing the creative, innovative ways people have pivoted in these most difficult times are quite inspiring. And I hope give many of you on the line ideas of some of the work that you can start doing to reshape your business. So I'm going to open it up for questions. There's one question in the chat. We'll take that in a second. You can also, at the bottom of your toolbar, raise your hand and I will actually open your line. So the first one I'm going to open is actually with Carla from Banana Samba. I'm going to unmute you. And I think it might be helpful if you just actually talk through your question. So 1 second, let me unmute you.
Hey.
All right. Carla, go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Well, first of all, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I'm extremely impressed. It was very, very informative. I almost missed. I would be devastated because I was in a meeting, so I rushed to this, and I'm so glad I made it. So thank you so much for your time and information. So as I said in my question, I'm an owner of a very small micro business. Is an import company, but specialized in a 100% natural snack. And my challenge is because snacks is not an essential product right now, of course. So it's not a mask or glove or anything like that. It's not bread, milk. It's a natural snack. So I'm kind of struggling on how to position my product, and also, of course, I have the social consciousness. So I'm doing a lot of campaigns, and I'm donating my product to the frontliners, and as a sign of appreciation. And selfishly, of course, I know that I'm promoting my product, but I'm also getting out there. So I want to move the product. I want to thank them, but I don't know what else to do. I got very interesting pointers and suggestions from you, because I haven't updated even though I'm constantly in social media, I do a lot of work there. I'm very active in Instagram, social media. I haven't updated, so thank you for that. But my question is for you, that if you know of anybody or any network that I could tap into to make partnerships at times like this. I don't know if it's a small supermarket chains or anything like that you could mutually benefit from, what we do. And I don't know, brainstorm or how we could navigate these times.
Thank you, Carla. So Zamawa, I think in one of your slides you had maybe it was a supermarket that was doing boxes, right? Like combining different products. Is that?
Those are restaurants that are selling products, but there are supermarkets out there that are working in very hot spots right now. There's a great, supermarket chain, Stop and Compare, which is a Latino-owned supermarket that could be a potential partner here. There are people that look at the situation in Chelsea right now. I don't know if people have been reading the Boston Globe with the situation in Chelsea. Lots of food insecurity there. There might be an opportunity to partner with some of the organizations like Chelsea Collaborative right? To provide, you know, this nutritional snack to people who are, you know, in need right now. So, and, you know, do some, you know, collaboration that you can then, you know, feel good about it and also put
Yes.
it, you know, and also promote it.
Yes, absolutely.
And Carla, don't feel guilty because you do need to run your business. You do need to sell, and being out there and donating with the intent of building recognition and goodwill is fine. That's what you have to do. So don't feel guilty at all, because you have a good product that you need to put out there, and you're being resourceful. And so all of this can pay off later. As you just don't give up. Just
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So very quick, just look
All
at
right.
organizations that are helping with food insecurity in some of the gateway cities.
Sorry, say that again, Josiane?
Look for
Oh,
organizations,
look for, yes, look for them.
organizations that are working to provide food supplies to people in gateway cities right now, starting with Chelsea, Lynn, and Lawrence.
Yeah, and there's also Project Bread, which is doing a lot of food distribution as well. We have 2 more questions. I'm going to unmute Grismaldi, and then after that, Jennifer. So I'm going to allow you to talk. Grismaldi, you're on the line.
Hi, Grismaldi Casado here. And I work in Tufts Health Plan in the Community Relations Department. And most of our work, and I think this question relates also to a lot of the nonprofits that are also on the call, most of our work is in-person events and very personable. And in a time like this, you have to pivot how you're reaching people and how you're reaching them to provide information and help them in different ways. I know online is an option, but we also in this call mentioned the barrier for low-income families, which is who we are trying to reach. So just thinking about, have you seen any creative ideas on reaching low-income families with useful and important information in a time like this? It could be online or other avenues that exist for this.
I'd love to answer to that, Grismaldi. It's nice to hear from you. So one of the things that we are doing is, you know, providing online meetings per gateway city. So we're working right now, probably working with Massachusetts Parents United, and we have parents meetings that are happening online in different gateway cities in their language. So in Haitian Creole, in Cape Verdean, in Spanish. The other thing that I've seen, and these are mainly, you know, done by you know, unfortunately alcoholic drinks, but they are providing entertainment online. So they are paying for bands to perform live via Zoom and using that vehicle to bring people in. I seen that, you know, with La Cerveza Medalla from Puerto Rico, paying like, you know, bands from all over the world to play for a captive audience for an hour, right? And then get these people to, you know, interact with the brand. So I know that a lot of what you, us people who do community engagement, you know, we're waiting for those festivals. We don't know what's gonna happen with the festivals. You know, a way to maybe replace that, you know, engagement could be to maybe produce some content online, some entertainment online for those followers.
Thank you.
The other thing is just, you know, I think Facebook is fairly widely used by certain communities, and you can live stream content as well. In fact, we should have live streamed this presentation, but that's another way to, you know, do live stream webinars as a way to help reach more communities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grismaldi. So I'm gonna take the next question from Jennifer. I'm gonna unmute your line. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. My name is Jennifer. I own a small clinic in Lynn for mental health, and I'm looking for more ideas around what to pivot specifically in our company. Thank you so much for doing this, but specifically, I wanted to hear more around ways of continuing to engage our growing audience on Facebook, which is for some reason our more successful platform. than Instagram. But and we've been doing podcasts as well as completely changing the entire business to telehealth, which has been challenging but rather easy because I had already set up the infrastructure for that prior to. So I'm just wondering for people in the medical field, if we have any ideas moving forward, what would be good to engage more folks and keep them talking. I just want people to be constantly aware of the brand as well as accessing the services, because we're providing emergency mental health essentially. And it just seems like right now people have like halted, even though they can have it from their home.
Great. Jennifer, thanks for that question. You know, I do think Facebook is a great vehicle for engaging, if that's the one that's resonating most. And it's probably because you're reaching an older demographic and younger folks are more focused on Instagram and probably less likely to want to address issues of mental health that way. I do know that the telehealth has become like the way to provide these kinds of services. So I'm glad you pivoted and really focused in that way. But what about partnerships with local organizations that are serving different populations so that you can get the word out there through collaborations and partnerships? Other nonprofit groups that are working with families that are facing food insecurity, can you connect with them and offer your services? People who are helping with financial aid and unemployment, can you connect with them? Because they are seeing a lot of the people that they serve are probably experiencing some big challenges. And I don't know how you work with health insurance companies, but probably that's another source of referral.
Oh yes, no, we definitely take insurance. And if it wasn't for that, we would have lost a lot of clients all of a sudden.
Right.
But that was, I think, the main reason, especially because they started waiving co-pays,
Right.
that people said, okay, well, I can continue this part of my regular life because my insurance is covering 100% of it. So another thing that I don't know if you have any insight on is that they gave us the emergency opportunity to access other states through our licensure. So now it's Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont, a number of new states. And how do I go about immediately switching over to targeting through marketing other states? I've never marketed outside of Massachusetts.
Yeah. And I think Facebook will provide you that opportunity, because from Facebook you can, if you produce the content and you think about your audience and who you want to go after, if you know who they are, you can really target by geography, by interest, by language, and really get your brand out there.
Yeah, and the other thing I can think of is, going to some of the health plans, making sure you're listed as one of their providers, right? The other is going to some of the benefits insurance and broker providers. So the brokers will often curate EAP, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you're listed there in those other states. So it may just be, a matter of going to those listings in Rhode Island and the states that you now can provide services in and getting your name out there. Right, but making sure you're on those lists. All right, well, we're out of time. We're a little over, but this was, got some comments have been very positive. Thank you to Josiane Zamawa. Wonderful presentation around how you can use marketing to pivot your business and continue providing services that meet the current needs of our community. And like, we say always, we are in this together. Partnerships, collaborations are really key right now. Don't hesitate to reach out to each other, to us. Emails for Josiane and Zamawa are here. You can also reach out to Amplify Latinx. Just go to info@amplifylatinx.com, send us a note. Tell us what you need. We want to be responsive to you and what you're looking for to help your business continue surviving and thriving. Our next webinar in the Business Resiliency series is going to be in Spanish around funding options for your business. That's on April 23rd. And then on April 28th, we have sort of the natural successor to this webinar, which is on digital transformation strategies with Elias Torres from Drift. So he'll go deeper into how you can use technologies to take your business online and almost be like the big tech companies. So thank you again to both of you. Thanks to everyone who joined. We appreciate you. And until the next one. Hasta la próxima.
Bye.
Gracias,
Thank you.
Betty.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yay, we did it.
You did it.